Hello, everyone. I would now like to introduce the moderator for the first panel discussion, Bhagyashree Jain. She is the founder and CEO of the Disposal Company, India's first automated offsets platform backed by Accenture and CII. She has an experience of over 7 years in public grievance redressal, government liaising, and plastics recycling. She has previously worked as an advisor to the Delhi government and continues to work with governments and administrations on waste management. She is passionate about social impact and creating global solutions to achieve sustainable development goals. Over to Bhagyashree.
Thank you so much, Salih. And hello, everyone. I welcome you all to the Sustainable Packaging Conference today. I take great pleasure in introducing all our panelists today. So let me just quickly welcome all our panelists. So Mr. Yakin, who's the Managing Director of Expressa Extended Producer Responsibility Alliance. Welcome Ronald Richa, the General Manager of Plastic Recycling for Repeat, Velo Middle East. Mr. Abdul Rashid, who's the Regional Sales Manager, AMEA and AMEA region for Tagleef Industries. Mr. Jitendra Puri, who's the Manager for Packaging Development at the Himalaya Drug Company for SZCO. So I once again welcome all our panelists, and we are here today to essentially discuss about the challenges and overcoming firstly all the concerns and addressing them and overcoming the challenges in the plastic packaging industry today. So I once again welcome all our panelists. So I'd like to begin with asking a question addressed to Yakin. So Yakin, since you're working in the extended producer responsibility domain, so my first question to you is, what are the latest game changers for transformations in plastic recycling in the packaging industry? Now, considering that EPR as a concept is gaining significance in many countries, how can this aspect be leveraged to help improve the recycling and reduce landfilling of valuable resources? Over to you, Yaki.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for inviting me, and thanks a lot for the question. Extended producer responsibility is in first line responsibility to those companies putting packaging on the market. And usually they are joining forces, founding a so-called producer responsibility organization, because they understand that this is a job that should be done together, jointly. And that's the background of my members as well, 29 producer responsibility organizations in 27 countries. And we are trying to close the identified gaps of resources in the circle of a packaging. So of course, in first line, there's usually a financial gap, because the collection and the sorting is usually more expensive than the recyclers are willing to pay for it. So this is one of the gaps we are trying to close. But there are also structural and know-how gaps. My members work with all the stakeholders, with local authorities, with the informal sector and so on, to establish an infrastructure, a collection infrastructure, and if there is an infrastructure already, to improve it. This is the job, so that we are building step by step a complete circle. And what you said, what was the mind changer over the last years? In the past, we were concentrating, I would say, mainly to fulfill a target, a minimum recycling target. In the meantime, also industry, the value chain, we have all understood we have to try to close the full circle for all packaging. So to keep as much packaging in the economic circle. And that's what is happening in 30, 40 countries all over the world already. And of course, we are ready to share all the failures, all the best practices, all the good things with other countries who are just thinking about how to do it.
Thank you for that, Yakin. So the next, actually in light of what Yakin just mentioned, how companies are looking at fulfilling their extended producer responsibility. Jitender, I would like to address the question to you that, how the Himalayan Drug Company is essentially looking at fulfilling its EPR responsibilities.
Hi, first of all, thanks for inviting me, and good afternoon, everyone. And yeah, see, as a Himalaya, we do have our sustainability targets are there, and we believe in, I would say, in transparency to inform the consumer what exactly Himalaya is driving for and what exactly Himalaya is standing for. To start with, we have 5 principles to start with. We are first believing in how to cut short our current requirements. See, currently, if I'll talk about the world numbers altogether, close to outside 311 million tons of plastics, which is getting churned out worldwide. Out of that one, close to 78 million odd is being used in packaging domain. And out of that, close to 14% only actually goes into the recycled stream, and 14% got incinerated, got into energy transformation, and 32% goes into leakage, right? It goes to different ways, be it landfill, be it going into the ocean, and so on and so forth. And 40% of that one gets on the landfill as well. So out of that one, what we believe is reducing, first of all, the load of the entire packaging is important. How we can reduce the plastic which we are currently consuming it. Say we were consuming it, say close to 25 tons of plastic in one particular domain of our products. We are reducing it considerably down by close to 15%. First of all, that itself will reduce the load of the entire plastic which we are consuming and going to the consumer chain. Then we are looking for how we can reuse that one, how we can reuse the materials as and when we are getting it across. So how we can minimize the single-use plastics. Currently, a lot of extra frills which are being given to the consumers as a new product introduction to them are getting it reduced, because consumers are also becoming more and more vigilant towards the globe, towards the environment. So hence they are also looking for the products which are responsible, which are not giving the extra plastic, yet to deliver the value, yet to give the thing which is not giving any bad experience to the consumer in terms of look and feel, in terms of utilizing it, and so on and so forth. Then we are looking for the recycling of the material per se, like how and which of the materials which you can use it, which are coming it from these, I would say, recycled chains, be it using already used plastics back into the stream and using as one of the layer in our plastics, or we are using it like the biodegradable plastics and so on and so forth, so that it can overall reduce the impact of our carbon footprint globally. Yeah. Then we are looking for recovery. See, as my colleague Joysham has correctly pointed out, like the concern is the margin suppression. The moment you're talking about EPR, moment you're talking about extended producer responsibility, there are a lot of resources which goes into that one. It's the collection of the material itself is pretty challenging. Yeah, when you invest into that kind of material, ultimately you have to either pay it through your own pocket, you have to reduce your margins, or you have to pass it on to the consumer. So now how much the consumer is willing to pay for that one, we have to address it. And it depends on from different market to market, from geography to geography, it will vary. Some of the geographies, it is pretty challenging, wherein consumers are, I would say, in that pyramid, where in the usage perspectively, they are not willing to shell out more money on that. Yeah, in some of the markets, definitely you can charge premium because consumers are much more educated, more aware about the environmental responsibilities. So you have to look upon and eggs into those kind of baskets and try and utilize like how much you can spend upon and what would be the optimal ways to spend and recover the energy from that. If you recover the energy from the waste you are collecting it across, and that energy is getting utilized and giving you back some or making it as a sustainable I would say business perspective as well, then it makes sense. Otherwise it will become like a one-way kind of usage only. Then finally only it should be a safe disposal. Like you can't have like in a scenario as such an ideal scenario as of now, but the present situation, like you are in 100% of the plastics, we will be able to recycle 100% of that plastic, you will be able to collect it. So end of the day, some of the plastic will definitely going to leak for the time being, till the time will come to I would say a barrier wherein we will be recovering it fully. So these are the 5 principles at which Himalaya is working as of now. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jitendra. You actually very well, simplified and put it forward, the challenges and the perspectives that I think ideally all the companies should be looking at from extended producer responsibility perspective. Also, I really appreciate the honest view that you, transparent view that you put, that, how businesses look at it from, and have to look at it from a business model perspective, at EPR or any further ESG compliances that they try and inculcate in their business models. So that's really nice. And now you also talked about recovery and the challenges that you face, or companies face in the recovery, or proving the end life of a product. So here I'd like to bring in Ronald into the discussion. Ronald, since you essentially handle or you are responsible for the plastic recycling team at Repeat, I would love for you to address the challenges that needs to be addressed or thought about while considering achieving a circularity for any business out there. So could you please highlight for us the challenges in the recycling industry, or the challenges that companies should actually think about addressing?
Thank you very much for inviting me to the Sustainable Packaging Conference. I'm very glad to be in this panel of discussion. My colleagues address the challenges, which are, as Joachim said, the gaps, these gaps that we all need to work in order to mitigate them or to reduce them. I work on the transformation and recycling business, which is somehow the cornerstone in this circularity, because we are the ones that work to invest in the circular economy business, and we try to find ways to reduce those gaps. As my colleagues mentioned, and I won't detail it more, the main challenges are for sure having access to the feedstock in order to be able to recycle it. So reducing the leaks, raising awareness, being able to collect properly, being able to segregate at source. All these themes and chapters are very important points in order to be able to achieve circularity. And we at Veolia, we work hard on each and every topic or each and every chapter in order to achieve it. We have launched several initiatives on this regard, whether in the Middle East or across the world. We are a global company, and we are today working hard with partners, with all the stakeholders, whether with the brands, the consumers, the local authorities, because at the end of the day, it's not an effort of one company, it's a joint effort that needs to be put in place. And this is what is the good point in EPR schemes, is that it brings into around the same table different actors from different point of views, and mainly from different industries, to put their effort together, financial effort, technical effort, in order to achieve the circularity. So having access to feedstock, having access to good quality material, having access to enough quality material so we can recycle it. There's the technical gap that Joachim mentioned. This technical gap today, we are in a position to address it. There's several ways to do recycling. We all know the mechanical way, the chemical way. The technology is evolving and is improving. And today we are embedding all these technologies at Veolia and trying to find the right mix in order to be able to recycle and achieve the final quality. Because at the end of the day, this is what we have to perform, is what's the quality, what our clients want in terms of quality. And the more recycling rate the companies has to achieve, the better the quality we need to target, the more stringent the quality we need to target. And this is at the DNA, this is the core of our activity, how we cope between the input and the final quality we have to achieve. And the most important challenge, and both of our colleagues mentioned it, is the economical equation. How to find the economical equation, how to find the right balance between the cost And I think Joachim mentioned it. I mean, the cost of the value chain of the recycling is very difficult from the cost of the value chain in the petrochemical industry, for example. We have a different cost structure, we have different challenges, we have different requirements to collect and so on, and to ensure all the logistics. So the cost of the input is different, the cost of the recycling is different, and what is the premium, and which industry is ready to pay this premium. All the industries are not ready to pay. Even for the industries that are ready to pay, they will limit the premium. They will not accept. You cannot come and say, my price is twice the price of the virgin, or 3 times, or 50% more. It will not be efficient, and it will not be sustainable from a business point of view. At the end of the day, what is important is the value that the industry, the circular economy industry, has to create. And the only way for this circular economy to create value is to cope with all these challenges, and to be able to achieve the economical equation whereby all the shareholders, or the stakeholders around the table, will be able to achieve a certain value. So this is what we're doing. And I come back to this premium question. We work hard with the different stakeholders to see what are the premiums and what are the economies that they are willing to achieve by doing this recycling, because this is very, very important. All the companies we work for, they have made commitments. They said, we want to include recycled plastic at this level, in this product, etc. But then when we start looking to the economical equation of it, sometimes it's a little bit tricky, and this is our role, to try to find the right balance between the circularity from one hand, the value that is created from the other hand, and the economical benefits that this brings to the value chain at the end.
That's a very valuable and again, like a very transparent view of how this industry works, and also like the challenges that we together as stakeholders need to address. Now, Ronald, you talked about the new packagings, and then also essentially what is available for you to recycle, the quality of the product input that is out there. So in this regard, I'd like to bring in Mr. Abdul Rashid in the conversation, who is the regional sales manager for AMEA region for Taglief Industries. Now, Abdul, you are a part of a company that is developing constantly. You're doing research and developing new packaging solutions for brands around the world. So what are some of the new packaging trends that are becoming more important, and how is the industry responding to the new models for reuse, refill, or maybe altogether new materials that are being developed? So what's your take on that?
Thank you very much, Bhageshri, and I'm so delighted to be here, and probably the first sustainability conference we attend in the region. Our region, it's not probably not top of the pyramid when it comes to these issues. But I'm so happy to be in flexible packaging as well, because I think largely we are part of the solution. But obviously the perception, coming to the landfill and the municipal solid waste and everything, it's quite popular, to see a lot of waste from plastics. So as an intermediary company, who develops the base film, which is obviously going to the converting industry, and they convert into the required pack size for the brand owners. What we could do, because we are not in customer interface, I don't know, probably Joachim agrees to me, but again, in our daily dealing, we are not in customer interface, but we are with industry interface. So what we do, we develop designs, we design, the innovative packaging solutions, and that can improve, and as rightly Ronald mentioned, the quality of the recyclate. See, the first thing, obviously, you need to get these things to be recycled. In the flexible world, it is still a large challenge. I was reading somewhere, even in advanced packaging scenarios like US, not more than 3 or 4% is coming back and getting recycled from the flexible world. But again, it's not largely the worst thing, because flexible packaging itself is the, at the core of it is the sustainability. I mean, the welfare, the reachability of the consumer, convenience, and obviously the protection, extended shelf life, and food safety. So we are, really all encompassing all these aspects, the fundamental aspects, and we are designing products that are really adding value to the recyclate. For example, currently, one of the most popular structure in the flexible industry is a triplex, which people call like 3 or 4 layers. And there is polyester in it as a print web. Then you have a foil, aluminum foil, or probably metallized polyester as the barrier, the functional barrier layer. And then you have polyethylene as the sealant. So what we are working on, or what we successfully proven in different part of the world, a complete mono PP solution to replace this multi-material laminate, which is obviously non-recyclable. So when you look at the fundamental recycling terminology, we say reduce, reuse, and recycle, for example. So in a way of reducing, I feel flexible itself is fitting there compared to many other formats of plastics. But still we are working on down gauging, which is like probably you can reduce up to 25 to 30% of the plastic on a PET bottle label in terms of reducing thickness, or even by cavitation. So we have films up to 0.55 density, which is offered to the region, and again underlining produced in the region, because Taglif believes we need regional solutions that really understand the ground realities and giving a transformational perspective to that. So in terms of reducing, yes, we are there. In terms of having innovative solutions of very, very lower thickness film and or highly cavitated, lower density film. And the second part, reuse, I'm not sure flexible whether it fits there, but still there are solutions which are offering for over lamination that, given in a perspective, the glass bottle or something, if people want to wash and reuse, there are solutions for it. And finally, for the recycling, this is the area probably company really focus as a corporate initiative. So we have dynamic cycle. That's the umbrella of all the initiatives coming straight out of the boardroom. I mean, our CEO and our owners are, overlooking these initiatives. And these are giving, different values to customer in terms of redesigning the existing, probably disadvantageous structure into a quiet advantageous and valuable the structure. And the second one, we are giving like, obviously the pre-consumer waste, whatever we have, we are reusing it under our initiative of Relife. And post-consumer waste, we are part of the ISCC Alliance, which is catching up, and our plant in Oman and our, a couple of converters who are our partners are already qualified for it. But yes, there are challenges because these PCR resins are not available. And I'm sure Buruj is going to be the next panel. So we want to hear from them. What is their perspective? So whatever we can do in between to improve the situation, we are there. And again, we are there with a lot of global experience. And we are bringing into whatever we can do on a, not to underestimate, but in a baby step level, how much we can stabilize in the region. But again, the region is catching up. The initiatives from Abu Dhabi, like the Circular Economy Council or Dubai Can initiatives, we see a lot of prospects in these areas. And I'm sure you mentioned by 2030, and definitely we will look forward to a better scenario in the region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abdul, for sharing, very, the deep insights on, how it's evolved, how sustainable packaging is evolving in the AMEA region. Now, coming back to you, Joachim. So, since you're again involved in extended producer responsibility, now EPR does not restrict at, what the companies do about the footprint that is out there or the post-consumer waste. A part of EPR also talks about how to reduce the footprint, or maybe essentially making their footprint more sustainable for the environment. So here I'll plug in an audience question as well, which is, are companies experimenting with sustainable options in tertiary packaging, such as replacing wooden or plastic pellets? Or maybe let me make it a bit more broader, what are the companies doing about as part of EPR about reducing their footprint or maybe making it more sustainable?
this is usually a very important part of the work of a producer responsibility organization as well, to work with brand owners, but also with packaging manufacturers and their suppliers to understand the options they have and what will happen to their packaging at the end of life, how they can improve, how they can make it easier for the recyclers, for the sorters and collectors. One sentence as an answer somehow to Jitendra, if I may, and don't take it personal. Remember to the owners of your great company Himalaya over 90 years ago, if they would have just thought of the concerns, I think you would not be employed today, because the company would not exist. I know it will be difficult to found with others in EPR systems, but what is the alternative? If you don't take the steps and the decisions, the legislator will do it, your customers will do it, your client will do it, and you will just run after the development. So use this opportunity together with all your partners to set the scene and to solve it. So that's my learning after 30 years in EPR. If you wait for others, you will be moved out of the market. And I think we don't want this. We want Himalaya to become 100 and 200 years old, please.
Thank you for answering that, Joachim. Since, we are at the last 5 minutes, so my quickly, one question addressed to you, Abdul. Should companies target compostable or recyclable materials? Just in a brief manner, what is better amongst the two?
Yeah, I will say both, because we do both. I mean, there are grounds for both scenarios, but it's all about depending on what is the existing recycling infrastructure and what is infrastructure that is modifiable. Because starting all over, probably not the solution. That itself is not sustainable. So we need to see what is the scenario, and we need to fit into it. We do both in different parts of the world. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that quick tidbit on that. Now, Ronald, over to you, and I would like all other speakers to follow up. So in one sentence, what is the one final, takeaway that you think is that now lies ahead for the packaging industry in in the next decade? What is the biggest trend that's going to be most focused that should be on?
I mean, what is important in this industry is to everyone work together, that we all work together. The EPR scheme is a way. My colleagues spoke about the eco-design. Everything is about working together. Everything is about defining the best solution, whether economical solution, technical solution, or logistical solution, in order to be able to build a full circularity. A company like Veolia alone or other companies cannot do it alone. We have to all work together. We have to all be in a kind of under the same umbrella. My colleague spoke about the region here in the Middle East. It's picking up. Yes, it's picking up. There are a lot of policies coming. There is a full involvement of the different authorities, for example, here in the UAE, in order to implement the circular economy policies. So everybody needs to be around the table, public, private, waste management companies, brand owners, etc., so we can achieve the circularity altogether.
Thank you for that, Ronald. And over to you, Jitendra. Your final words on the biggest trend.
Yeah, to me, it's sustainability is a continuous journey. So be it we have to keep always consumer in the center. Whatever we are doing, end of the day, it is for meeting the consumer demand. Be it through the EPR, be it through the PCR, be it through other technical developments, which I would say industry specific is doing it across. Ultimately, consumer is at the heart of that one. So what exactly we can do it, giving him the value for money for the product which he is paying for, and consumer convenience. Along with that one, collaboratively, it has to be developed to provide the solution which is environmentally responsible as well. We are responsible for the planet as well as for the consumers. So it should be a win-win scenario for that one. I just want to add on a few more lines for my colleague as well. See, Himalaya as such stands for the sustainability of that one. And we are there for last 130 years. Definitely it will go a long way in the industry. And as well as we have to be competitive enough. And consumers believe in the product. as well as in our strategy. That's what they are going for. And Himalaya being on very sweet spot as of now, I could say, like, as the consumer trend is changing towards the vegan, towards I would say more of towards the herbal, towards back to the nature, and hence we are doing it in over here in sustainability as well. We are going back to the nature. Yeah. So it is like consumer at the heart and going back to the nature. That's what we are going to win collaboratively.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jitendra, and thank you all our panelists. I believe our time is up, but and I think this was a fabulous discussion, which added a lot of value for everybody listening to us. So thank you so much again for joining us today, and I look forward to staying in touch with all of you. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Best wishes.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.